Welcome to the Bowdudes, a podcast about archery and the lives it has ruined. The Bowdudes are not responsible for diminishing archery skills or lower IQ.
I worry about breathing.
Shut up and shoot.
And I'm totally lost.
God, I keep having to remember that we're PG-13.
Did it help you with those pants?
No, he did not. I'm so glad you have yourself to crack up.
Logic and common sense will not be tolerated.
This is a very interesting podcast so far.
We are back. I know Jack doesn't like us saying that, but, you know.
I don't know what else to say.
What's better to start than we're back? I mean, we had to leave, so we had to come back. But I need to start by thanking Pib for letting me know I was number one during the intro. That was nice of him.
Hey, the guy needs to know where he stands.
I know. You were telling me I was bringing us back, right? Okay. So, anyway, it's just the four of us tonight. We got myself, Jack Gibson.
Hello.
Pib, a.k.a. Jim Frazier, and the godfather of archery, Mr. Bob Brown.
Hello.
That's the four knuckleheads you get tonight. And the topic tonight, we're going to talk about tree stand hunting. Can you get too high? Is it possible to be, too close to the ground if you're
Too
hunting?
high? Are we hunting in Colorado? Or
No.
what do you mean?
High as in up in the air.
Oh, okay.
Not as in mentally
Yeah.
with illegal narcotics in the state of Missouri. But that's going to be the topic. We're going to throw in some other stuff, too. And Pib doesn't know yet, but he's going to be ready with a tech tip.
Sweet.
Since Jim couldn't answer our question last week about tiller tuning a recurve, that's on you today, Pib.
I got this.
Okay, good. I
wait.
figured you'd make some crap up anyway, so this is going to be good.
You just pull it out of your back pocket and you do what you got to do.
Here you go. All right, well, I'll help you. We'll work our way through it. Anyway, we're going to talk about what we did in archery this week, and we're going to start with Bob.
Well, I didn't do very much at all. What are you doing?
There
Going
you
crazy?
go. Yeah, no, I'm trying to get you to go a little closer with the microphone.
Okay, I was leaning.
You leaned into your headset.
When you're leaning, you have a headset on. The microphone keeps the equidistance that you lean your head.
Somebody's got to take Vinny's place tonight.
Oh, great. Where's the monkey we hired?
No, I really haven't done anything. Work's been a little hectic. It's that time of year, all the harvesting going on, and out seeing how the fertilizer that I sold them did, the chemicals that I sold them did, the seed I sold them, how it did.
How's it doing?
Doing real well. Corn's been pretty good.
We had plenty of rain.
Yeah, a little too much. There's a little damage in some of the corn, especially where it was corn on corn. They have a thing called diplodia. The ear just actually gets mold all in between the shuck and right on all the kernels, and so that's not good. No. But all other than that, it's yielding pretty well. A lot of deer starting to move, getting pushed out of the cornfields around and stuff. That's
a good thing.
Been out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll start seeing them again.
It's crazy. They're cutting ruts in September because we're pretty wet. But you go on over. I was over in Sheraton County today, and it's dry as a bone over there. And people are even combining beans over there and stuff. And
How far away is that?
From where here?
Well, from Carroll County.
It's the next county over. It's where I worked for over 20-some years over there, just on the east side of Grand River that comes down. So a lot of good people over there. A lot of big deer over there.
Yeah.
That's where Swan Lake's at and in there. So
we do have big deer in this state.
There's a few.
Yeah.
Jack's got them all on his property.
Well, no, we saw some of them the other day up at Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we opened that back door and had all those heads in there waiting. I told Jack, I said, I think mine's going to be a while because he still had my horns in the other rooms. He only had about 100 that are finished up.
Yeah, that one that we showed there, like I said, that was basically in my backyard, about 3 miles outside of town. And he was. Problem is a deer like that in that area. There was probably 5 or 6 people that thought they were going to have a chance to kill that deer because of, in about a mile stretch out there, they were probably 5 different people had seen that deer on their property. So, and the one boy just looked at it was there during opening day.
Yeah.
I don't know why that boy wasn't bow hunting it, but oh well.
That deer was a wanderer, wasn't he? But there's no fences, and if they're not big game fences, he's going to go wherever he wants.
Yeah.
Kind of like they say about fishing in the ocean. Well, why'd we catch this fish here? Well, because there's no fences; they can go wherever they want.
Yeah.
So,
but I really hadn't done anything in archery. We had 2 different things to go to. I don't even think there was a shoot this past weekend, was there, Pib?
There was an indoor over at Archery Excellence.
Oh, okay. Saturday.
They had a 450 round over there.
nobody shoots indoor. You knew that jab was coming, didn't you?
Yeah.
But
Where's Thunder at tonight?
Shooting indoor.
Oh,
Teaching people to shoot indoor, I think.
But what'd you do, Pib? I didn't do anything.
I actually set up an indoor bow.
Are you going for the shootout again?
Yep. That's probably
Wow.
in the works.
I wish I had a ladle. I'd go ahead and stir the pot.
I built some triple X's and turned my bow down a little bit and changed the sight on it, the scope housing on it, to a true spot type.
What did you just make your 3D bow a indoor bow now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I promptly
Took it all apart and redid it again.
I shot my first game, and I had a 55X game going, and I was feeling pretty good about it, and dropped 2 X's in the very last end.
that's how it always goes.
Yep.
Relaxed.
If you can figure out how to
Yep.
not do that, you'll be.
Oh, right.
A 57X shooter.
So
I just did the math.
So then I
Makes sense, Jack.
After I did that, the next day I promptly came down, tore it all apart, put it all back together, and started shooting it at a 40 again with my 3D stuff.
So I was close. I just missed it
Just
by
for
a day.
something to do.
Just missed it by a day.
Yeah.
You're up, Jackson.
All
Was that
right.
it, Pib? You didn't go hunting or anything? It's been a little bit toasty.
The weather's got me in the house.
Yeah, it's too
I'll
stinking
tell you
hot.
what. If you killed one now, it'd be jerky by the time you got it to the truck.
Right? It would.
It is hot.
Yep, it is.
It's been
Well,
in the
we-
90s.
But
all
we
week.
went hunting last weekend.
It wasn't bad once we got in there and
I was sweating
quit
like a
sweating
pig.
about a half hour
Oh
later.
my gosh! And it was kind of like a trial run, so Gary could figure out how to do the camera and stuff. And
I might be a
about-
natural.
yeah.
He didn't drop it?
No,
Seriously, because he sets it all up and all I got to do is turn the button on.
I can teach him how to do that.
I don't know. It's kind of fun and kind of neat, but those cameras are kind of pain in the butt too. Getting all that equipment over there, setting it up in a tree and all that. We're gonna.
We could do it in less than 10 minutes, though. I mean,
Yeah, I think we're going to split the equipment up. Poor Gary had a big mountain backpack on because I said, we've taken it over there in smaller backpacks, day packs and stuff, but the camera arm's sticking out and everything else, and it's kind of all pushed down in there. And so we just put it in a big backpack,
not we.
since we had a big backpack, I'm thinking, why do we need 2 backpacks? We really
Yeah.
don't. So I put the water.
Let's take a couple gallons
I
each.
put 2 Nalgene bottles
No,
worth of
hey,
water.
A couple
I-
gallon bottles.
And my kill kit isn't just what they.
It's for killing a herd of elk.
I don't just carry like a knife and some gloves. I have like all kinds of stuff in there.
Game bags, 14 set of fillet knives.
And then what else did I have
enough,
in there?
Enough cleaning utensils as far as cleaning off your hands and stuff. You could probably wash all your clothes while you're there. There's enough water.
But it was fairly heavy.
You
But I
got-
have
So you put all that stuff in one big pack, put it on Gary's back, and said,
exactly. Yeah.
Y'all mule.
Yep.
Put on the mule and kicked me twice.
Right.
You got to leave the knife in the truck, though.
Now, I'll tell you, we almost...
Why is that?
It's bad luck to take the knife to the tree
Yeah,
with you.
probably.
Well, I didn't have a gun.
I
I thought about killing him halfway back.
I want to shoot. I want to shoot one deer this year when it's cooler, so I can take my time and try the gutless method. That
that would be kind
deal.
of cool.
I'm thinking, except for the tenderloins, and if you want the heart, I'm also starting to think about keeping the hearts because the last 2 times we've gone out.
You can get the tenderloins too.
Yeah, you can get the tenderloins just by cutting here behind the back rib and get in there and get them. And it's like, why gut it? You know, it's easier to. It's about as easy to just take a quarter at a time and set it on a table and cut the roast and stuff off of it as it is to hang it up and do all that. So
That was pretty cool, though.
I mean, you don't have to take it to a check station. You can check it right on your phone, get your telecheck number, and then you take the deer and you drive it home and you hang it up. And unless you're going to let it hang for a few days, what a rookie!
My God!
You take it,
and then it was another podcast.
I know. You hang it up.
I'm looking something up. Get off of me.
You hang it up, and you cut it up. And if you do it that night, then you got to take the carcass and you got to drive back out to where you were and throw the carcass away.
No, you don't. We work at Ford. They got dumpsters.
Well, you know, whatever. I do things ethically.
Whatever.
When you could just cut the back straps off real quick, cut 4 quarters, get the tenderloins out, take it out, and it's ready to put on your kitchen table and cut up, or
it all depends,
or whatever.
Do you want all the rib meat and everything? Because
how much rib meat's on a white-tailed deer?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. But
Not very much.
What video was it I watched the other day? Which one did you put up? I can't remember the guy's name. I'm sorry.
What's that?
The gutless method you put up.
Oh, Randy Newberg.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, he had those bones cleaned out. Those things were white. I mean, he took all the meat off of it.
He took the neck meat. And
I mean, I can see taking the neck meat off of it.
Take the neck meat and take the rib meat and all that and make hamburger, So,
hamburger.
I don't know. I'm going to try it once. And then also, you get your 4-wheeler and all that all bloody, taking it out. So.
And you have spent money on the game bag, so you might as well use them.
And if you don't gut it, you just put on a small pair of gloves. You're not getting blood all over you from gutting it. So
I guarantee.
I've got myself convinced that this is the way to go. Now I may go try it. And I think
now.
The first time, we're going to come out looking like we've been in a fight.
Uh-huh.
According to Dr. Jonathan Edwards,
who's that?
He's a paleo guy and a nutritionist and whatever. You need to be eating organ meat, liver, kidneys.
I like
meat.
heart. I never thought I'd like heart, but I do like heart. Now liver. If somebody would fix the liver for me and fix liver and onions, I'd probably be okay.
You throw it out and eat the plate.
Yeah, I could probably do liver and onions. I
can't get
liver.
Barb to make it for me. I don't know how to make it. So I go over to Cracker Barrel to get it.
My wife.
I have a feeling Monica makes it pretty good.
You do liver and onions out of your deer?
Not out of my deer. We get beef liver a lot.
Yeah.
That was actually my oldest son's favorite meal when he was growing up.
Liver and onions?
Really? Yeah.
Wow, you don't see that with kids very often.
And there again, the trick is not overcooking it.
Right.
Yep.
Because you can get it too dry and tough and everything else. But yeah, not overcooking it. Same way on
venison.
Your venison. My wife told me yesterday that venison did not necessarily. She reads books all the time. She said venison is not necessarily deer meat. Venison is considered any wild meat.
Any wild meat. Yep.
Yep.
And I said, well, thank you very much. Let's get in now, get in the kitchen and cook something.
Well, my wife, bless her heart, decided the other night that she would cook the antelope steaks before I got home.
Ooh.
Yeah. I told her 2.5 minutes on each side. It's got to be medium rare. And then apparently there's a show called Dancing with the Stars on. Or something like that.
So she Bob Browned it?
Well, Dancing with the Stars is not exactly 2.5-minute commercials.
You told her to brown it and she Bob Browned it?
She dark browned it. There was a couple of them that were still pink in the middle.
She was cooking it.
There's a couple of them that were pink in the middle, and they were still pretty good. But the other ones that were, it's a good thing we had A1.
Those animals.
Well, Barb is an awesome cook. She really is. But when it comes to steak night around here, the kids won't let her cook it.
Why?
Because
she likes it
for some reason she thinks it has to look a certain way before it comes off the grill. I can't get her convinced that it cooks after you take it off the grill. You got to time it just right.
That stuff in the bottom's charcoal. We're not eating it.
And those antelope steaks aren't very thick.
Yeah.
So just a couple minutes on each side is really
quick.
good. Yeah. Especially if you're cooking it hot, so.
Right.
But besides that, I have been shooting in, had a gnat fly at my nose. Besides that, I've been shooting in the backyard, just trying to.
Hope it wasn't a midge fly.
It may have been. I may have EHD.
I may kill you next time we go in the woods and throw you in the pond.
Yeah, he's going to be in the pond.
Could be a bot fly.
It still never ceases to amaze me after all these years. You can walk out there one night and just be an absolute hero and think, this is easy. And then the next night you're like, you can't hit anything.
Frame of mind.
Yep.
What's the matter, Jack? He's got a pecker gnat after him over there.
You know, you can't hardly fool them things either. You know what?
Nope.
All right, Gary.
Good one, Bob.
Don't be high-fiving him over there.
Oh, that was good.
The circle fly.
Well, I haven't shot or anything. I've been busy mowing. It's that time of year. We had all the rain. The grass is growing again.
Yeah, we're getting sick of that.
I know.
Same thing every week.
Really? You want to go there? Really?
Come on.
Should we just pass that up?
What'd you do?
Nothing. I told you.
Think
I've been
about
mowing
anything?
a lot.
All right.
I went hunting with you and carried a 100-pound backpack, and then found out the hard way that if you step on a rock that's about 6 foot long
Little
and
slick.
it's a little bit wet,
Yep.
you'll end up at the other end of that rock faster than you can walk it. I didn't fall. Never did hit the ground.
Did it get? Was it video?
Did not hit the ground. No.
What I wanna know
That would have
is-
been too heavy when he was carrying his bow
You had a 100-pound backpack
and carrying Jack.
and all the stuff in it.
Yep.
So, you need to tell Jack they sell lighter backpacks.
And you know what? That I didn't think about this till later. That backpack has a built-in bow carrier. I don't even know why I was carrying my bow.
I don't either. I thought you were just
There's really
holding.
no reason.
I thought you were just holding the bow because I kept going.
So
Hey,
I
will you loosen up a little bit? You're choking me.
We got to change his handle now instead of Gary One Bowdude. It's Jack's bitch.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey.
Well, I could have really concentrated on the spider stick then instead of
There. See,
you know,
you got to look at.
because you got to keep switching hands, and it's hard to switch hands when you got a stick in one hand and a bow in the other.
Yeah, and you don't want
you
cobwebs
know?
on your bow.
No, you don't. So
I
yeah,
think
that's
I
a
got
good
shafted.
thing.
Jack
Bob, what do
don't
you
want
think?
spiders on his neck. So,
Those spiders don't want to hurt you.
I don't care.
They're more
I don't
scared
like
of you than
spiders.
you are of them.
Give me a snake. You take the spiders.
I'd have used your bow to beat that snake to death. We'd have seen one. I don't mind the spiders. I can push them out of the way. I can't do the snake thing.
Well,
Why do we even hunt together?
I don't know. I
Me neither,
ask
Bob.
myself that a lot.
I don't know why. You should be thanking me.
But anyway, tonight we were going to talk about tree stands and how high you should go with them.
It depends. Are you in Denver?
So this was kind of Bob's idea, so we're going to let him take over, and we're going to go outside and shoot. And so for the next 35 minutes, you're going to have Bob.
Bobcast.
Bobcast.
No.
Play Thunder's music for Bobcast. Can you do
No,
that?
we got to come up with something better than that.
Yeah, I'll get something for Bob.
Okay.
Oh, I got something for Bob.
Uh-oh. This could be good.
Go ahead. Start talking.
Plug your phone in.
Okay, I'll find my thing for Bob.
Okay.
Well, Gary tells me that most
he
of your
said-
tree stands, Jack,
Since
are
he
like
made
30 feet in.
the pecker gnat comment about
Bob,
me,
I didn't make it. I just
I
said
got something for
they're hard
Bob.
to fool.
Bob, I told him I would not bust on him tonight about how high he puts his tree stands, but I do know for a fact 2 of them have emergency chutes that you put on when you get up there, and it will deploy before you hit the ground
It's not that high.
and slow you down.
Go ahead.
So my question is, why do you have them that high?
I don't know.
Is it
I bet it's because everybody says you're supposed to have them that high.
What's your truck say? What's your license plate?
20 foot up.
Yeah. Why do you put them 40?
I don't know.
that gal out
How big
there
a
in the
tree? How
mountains
big a
made
tree is
fun
it
of
in?
you?
Huh?
That gal out in the mountains made fun of your license plate.
Did she?
Yeah, don't you remember the little guy that tested her brakes, for heat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What'd she say? I remember saying something, but
Something about
that as high as you get or
yeah,
something.
something.
oh,
Jack looked. It was kind of rude though when you said looked at her and you went, "Hey, we were just 14,000." Then you said something else that was inappropriate.
No, I
I don't
didn't.
know.
I didn't know why anybody would ever need one, 30 or foot high or something.
Or 60.
Would you?
I've had some that are up there pretty good ways.
I'm an old man.
Is it?
There you go.
I'm an old man.
Here's Bob's intro music. Bobcast.
I'm an old man.
There we go.
And I
Sorry about that.
Me.
That's pretty good.
And to think I drove this far just to do this.
Yeah, you could have stayed at home and got kicked in
Yeah.
the junk, right?
Yeah.
No, Monica still likes him.
No, but I mean, when we were growing up, tree stands, we were like 8-10 feet off the ground. And then where did it come from that all of a sudden you had to be 20, 30 feet up in the air? I remember a time where people were saying you need to be like 30 feet up in trees.
The only time I ever really tried to get that high in a tree was, and that was when I was just climbing. I didn't have a stand, but we had there were some oak trees, and I was hunting the field edge, and those oaks, the lower limbs were down, so I had to get probably 25, 30 foot in the air to be able to shoot over the top of those limbs that were down out,
Right.
sticking out over the field. And
The only other time I can see where you'd need to be that high is if there's not much cover and all the trees are, it's a bunch of straight trees and they're not very big trees,
Turn your mic toward your mouth a little bit more.
That better.
There you go.
Yep.
Anyway, a bunch of straight trees and stuff like that. I can see getting up there 20, 25, somewhere like that.
But on a straight tree, seems like all the trees on my place go up 30, 40 feet before you hit a limb. Don't you?
There's a lot of them.
Most of them are like that.
Well, a lot of that is too because you had it logged not too long ago.
Well,
And
they've always
those trees
been
were
like that.
A lot of those trees were fighting to get sunlight too, so they were going straight up as
Yep.
fast as they could.
Right.
And so, you say you got to be up that high, but sometimes you get up that high, I almost feel like you're silhouetted more. Where if you were like Gary, that's what Gary's biggest complaint about my stands. So I hate to admit and agree with him, but you get up so high and you get really silhouetted. Where on trees like that, sometimes if you come down a little farther and you got more trees behind you,
Yes.
Yep.
it kind of breaks you up a little bit.
For instance, one of the main spots we've been getting a lot of pictures from, you kind of go, it starts a field and it starts like it's going to go down to a creek and it only drops down 3 or 4 feet to go to where the tree is. Well, if you go 25 feet up, they're skylining you because everything else is dropping down. So, and you did have those up there pretty good. They weren't terrible. They're 25 feet probably.
Maybe
7 sets of climbing sticks, something like that.
what I like to do, what I used to do a lot was if I put up a new stand or something like that, I'd get in it and then, or put my son in it, and then I would walk the deer path. Try to do it later and actually look to see whether or not what's behind you. As far as being silhouetted, or like I said, having something behind you breaking it.
Yeah.
And even if you've got to be in that tree at that point to get a good shot or whatever, as you're walking, not to move until the deer gets to a certain spot. Because then you've got more silhouette behind you.
Right? Yeah, and one of the things around here in the Midwest is I see it a lot, especially hunting over there where we're at them around the airport and places like that. People will tend to pick a tree that's really easy to get in and easy to hang a stand in. I'm the opposite. If I have to work a little harder to get a stand in a tree that's got some cover or some branches that hide.
Big evergreen or something like that where you got to cut some holes out?
Big evergreen, bent oaks with lots of horizontal type branches and places you can hide.
I have those. I just don't have those. I got a lot of...
Sometimes it takes 2 straps to get around them, but...
Right.
And see, that's the thing that's really great about this old hedge tree that I hunt in, because it's got, it comes up and it goes everywhere, and it's got a big limbs sticking out, but they have no little branches sticking off of them.
Right.
So they're just like clubs sticking around, so you don't have to worry about your arrow being deflected or anything like that.
Does that tree leave out anymore?
It's been dead. I've hunted it for over 20 years, and it was dead when I first got in it.
Wow.
I like pin oaks too.
But it's just
pin oaks are good.
Yeah. It just got so much trash coming off of it. You're hidden really well in it.
Yeah. And then it's not on top of the ridge. It's not down in the draw. It's on the side as it's sloping off, and there's a lot of brush behind me, usually from either side that the deer come in. Because it slopes down and then goes then the hill goes up on the other side to the east, and there's a lot of tall trees over there. So if anything comes on the west side of me, I've got a silhouette behind me, and I just don't get busted.
In a situation like that, you don't have to be all that high off the ground.
And I'm not. I mean, 12 to 14 feet maybe.
Yep.
And
does some guys did that? A lot of that getting high in a tree stand also start with guys trying to make their scent blow over the top of a deer.
Yep.
I think it's a lot of it,
and that does help to some degree. I mean, if you can get in a place and like I had a spot over here across over behind the golf course over here.
That was very non-descriptive. Thanks.
That the tree itself, you was maybe 18 feet up in the tree, but the back side of it was probably 60 feet to the bottom because of where it was on the bluff. And deer could walk under me all day long and never know I'm there. So.
I've got one that's literally you can stand at the bottom of the tree and jump up. I mean, just barely jump up and touch the bottom of the tree stand. But we'll have deer walk by you all day long.
Yep.
And just stare at that hill and try to figure out what's up there and never see you.
Yep.
Because it goes up a pretty steep hill right behind us. But I think one of the problems we run into with Jack is like we were talking about, he has a bunch of super straight trees and they don't leaf out for a long way up. But the ones you do find, and like the one where we're hunting on the edge of the field, there's a big limb, and I mean big as in diameter around it. It's probably 18, 20 inches around it. It's right exactly where you need to put the tree stands. So you either go around the complete opposite side of the tree, which is shooting down the hill, which you're not going to see anything down there.
Right.
Or you cut the limb off. Or you just set a stand right on top of that, and then try to finagle the other one up in there. So we went up higher to get above it, and then it almost like it's got too high. So it's going to be having to take that limb off there, which you hate to do, but
I'm going to do it.
It's such a good spot. We're going to have to.
Yeah. If I get a pretty straight tree, I like to at least find a fork in it or something and be at least where that fork is. So I got something to lean on or behind you or to break you up or something like that. I mean,
another thing about getting up too high. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's like Gary's saying. When you got all those straight trees, it's hard to find a good spot to hide, and that's what I think about more than anything. Is not scent so much as I like to be hidden.
Well, what do you think about that, like leafy tape and stuff?
I think
put that on the bottom of the tree stand. You think it would make any difference?
Yeah,
just to put it on the bottom, around the bottom of the platform.
Man, when I first started bow hunting here years ago, there was a guy that hunted over here, and I only met him a couple of times, but I learned a lot from where he hunted because he would, there'd be a fence row with one little bitty old spindly tree in it, and this guy, he'd go put a ladder stand in it and then grab a bunch of old brush and sticks and brush himself up around there. Mm-hmm. You can always do some of that.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say there's a heat vent that comes out of the back of the quick
No.
That's a good spot right there. You can stay warm and hunt all day.
Hashtag Gary's an asshole.
There's no hashtag with that.
You get up, and if you get up very high, if you're going to, I think that shortens your distance that you can shoot, so that steepens your angle. At least where I hunt, because of your other tree limbs that are out there.
Right.
You're above them, so if you don't like to trim a lot of limbs, like I really don't like to. I like this hedge tree. I'm below a lot of those other limbs, and now every now and then I'll have to go and trim one out because the wind. You have a storm come through and it'll change some stuff. But then the angle when you get up there that high, you're shooting down on a deer, and I don't know, you
makes the kill zone smaller.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And I read a lot of stuff that you can't kill them if you hit them one lung, but I think there's a lot of deer that get killed with one lung shots.
Robert shot one up here, one lunged him. It's been several years ago, and we went and looked for that deer the next day.
Yeah, you can't push him. Yeah.
He had bedded down. He wasn't doing well, but he was still alive. He He was alive enough that when Robert reached down and grabbed him by the antler, he shook his head and about made him wet his pants. But
Yeah.
They'll live a long time on one lung.
Yep.
Well, how high are those stands we have that we were in the other night? We put a bunch of pictures of stuff on Instagram from where we were looking down at the ground.
Well, they seem a lot higher. They're up there a little ways. We need to take a tape measure over there and just measure them. So
they're probably 18, 20 feet at least.
Maybe, and
but
they're on the railroad right
on the
away.
railroad right away. So that's a 4 or 5 foot incline.
More than that.
But we had to cut down a tree to get a good shooting lane.
Yeah, when it comes to shooting lanes, I'm kind of with the scorched earth policy sometimes.
Yeah, well,
Mow it all down.
no, we don't have. We don't make giant ones, but I mean, there was. If there's trees here, there's no shot.
Yeah,
it's 10-inch across.
All three of those sets we haven't put the tree stands back that we took down the other day because that big limb's in the way, but all three of those you're pretty well hidden. That stand you shot your deer out of last year, which my brother-in-law decided to, since none of my family listened to this, I go ahead and say it, that I spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of time putting out trail cameras and
like Maverick and Goose.
I noticed you getting quizzed about that on Facebook the other
figuring
day.
out where
he lies.
The deer are and stuff, and then I'll put tree stands up, and then I'll start showing my family trail camera pictures, or we'll kill a deer down there or something, and all of a sudden everybody moves into my area.
It looks like a lot better spot to hunt then.
So my brother-in-law is building a whole. He's just a gun hunter, so I really don't care. But he's building a whole tree. He bought one of those redneck blinds, but it's a soft-sided one. I didn't know they even made soft-sided ones.
It's not nearly big enough, apparently.
Yeah, he's building a platform down there. He's going to put his soft-sided stand on top of the platform, and then he's going to drive his Polaris. What is it? Is it a Ranger? Yeah, Polaris Ranger, the side-by-side. He's going to drive it all the way down there, park it underneath the platform, and then climb up into his... Which, I mean, he's getting old. I mean,
Yeah, but the problem is he only has, maybe 60 yards he can shoot?
Right now. And that's another thing. I really like this field down here because it was all brushy, and we went down there and we just cut out some areas and
We've
started
got it
playing
divided
food plots.
into 2 fields now.
Where you can shoot all the way across the food plot with a bow. Well, now they're down there, they're clear cutting the field so they can shoot across it with a gun, And I can't say anything. I mean, it's all of our property. It's just a little frustrating. But
I like the CRP, the brushy,
yeah, I do too.
Thick and woolly.
Yeah,
because they like to be out in there.
Well, it's basically CRP, thick, brushy, woolly stuff.
They move through it,
and then there's 50 feet wide and 100 feet long of nothing but clover and turnips and stuff like that.
The deer Gary shot last year, he appeared out of nowhere because it's all that brushy field, and then we had that food plot planted.
He just showed up in it.
That used to be a crop field, but when we bought it and people quit farming it, it only took it 5 years or so to grow up into a little forest again. It grew up pretty quick. So
it's pretty thick down there.
Yeah,
if you're not in that field. But
so, I don't have a problem with them cutting a little bit of it out. I told them, I said, I don't want you to cut in the whole field because they like it down in there. So
they're going to be like a 2-foot spot.
Well, it gives them some security.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can escape something in a hurry.
Yep.
But, so Gary and I was over there looking at the opposite end of my property that nobody ever hunts, and I'm probably going to move some stands over there now.
That's where you need to be hunting.
Yeah, because when they start all congregating down there where I'm having success now, I'm going to move over there, and it's not as nice. I mean, but we saw some trails and stuff that that they move around on, and I killed the biggest deer I've ever killed was over there on that bluff that we're talking about. It's thick. And so we're not going to probably see as many deer, but I think that you'll see some bucks running that bluff and stuff.
We only saw one last year.
Yeah, it's true.
When you in that thick stuff, when you see them, usually you could have a very good chance of killing him. I mean, because he's going to wind up being close. So
yeah,
and if you got all those other guys hunting that other part, definitely stay through the noon hour.
Oh yeah. When I get to hunting in late October and November, I usually hunt all day.
Yep.
So
you got the first week of November off, right?
Yeah, I always take the week before gun season off to bow hunt.
I try to.
Yeah.
I had success in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've killed a lot of deer from 11 to 1, and it just happens to be when the neighbors and stuff are walking out to go back to their truck to go to lunch or whatever. But
The deer know that.
well,
They pattern us just like we pattern them.
Yep. So
they
I like
bump
to
them out.
surprise 'em.
So yeah, it's funny how you if you kill one decent deer in a spot that all of a sudden in a 900 acre farm that you have the best spot.
Yeah.
How did you wind up with the best spot?
right.
Well, the deer just didn't. It wasn't bedded down by my stand when I walked in, and got up in the tree, and 4 hours later I got up and I shot it. I mean, it came from the other part of the farm,
Yeah.
So you just got to be in your stand,
Be there.
when it walks by. So
And we can't bait in Missouri, but you can, as long as it's cleaned up 10 days before the season, you can put stuff out to get pictures taken, And so like
Right.
in June and July especially in July when the horns are pretty well getting to where they're going to be, I like putting like that BB squared out, that Big and J stuff. Mm-hmm. That stuff attracts them for miles. And we're having a lot of good luck with trophy rock too, which I think trophy rock's just considered a mineral. So
Yeah,
I think it's legal here in Missouri, but
but it's like 90 some odd % salt, so
Yeah,
it's just pretty
yeah.
much salt.
yeah.
But they like it.
But I mean, where I was going with that is I spent a lot of money. That BB squared is not cheap.
No, but it's
You
good.
know? And it's good. I mean, it smells good, and it attracts them. You put that out. What got me started was a friend of ours gave me some of that, and I put it out, and that's when. Well, it doesn't matter, but I put it out, and it was close to season, and so I'm like, I got to getting nervous about it, and I got to get up there and get that cleaned up, and I went
Right.
up there, and I just had it out for a week. There wasn't a piece of corn or anything left. They went
It
through
was
it all.
just gone.
Yeah. And you get all kinds of pictures. You can pretty well see all the deer that you want on your property or close by if you put that out, in like July, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, they'll come to it. So,
Yeah, they are going to come check it out.
but anyway, what about? Go ahead.
Trimming trees out the way, I said I don't like to trim, but there's a tree up there, and my son can tell you what it is, but it's got a big oblong leaf. It's about 12 inches long. The deer actually eat them. I've seen them eat them, but the tree doesn't get very tall. Well, it gets probably 12, 14 foot tall, but not very big around. Seems like there's a lot of them around there.
Like a pawpaw tree? Or
No, it kind of reminds you of a pawpaw tree, but it's these never have the pawpaws on them or anything. But just seems like they have little, when the leaves fall off of them, they have little fingers. Deflection trees, what I call them.
Yep.
And but when you trim a tree down like that, how do you trim it? Do you trim it right off the flush at the ground and pull it over, or I usually cut mine off about 3 or 4 foot tall.
Yeah.
And I did that just so I wouldn't stub my foot on them, and stuff.
Right.
So if I'm walking in the dark, I can kind of feel it, and go on, so I'm not tripping over it. But since I've done that, probably 16 years ago, when I cut those down, they have started. Some of them that have lived have started putting little bitty limbs out on them, just 4 or 5 foot, and the leaves are on it early. The deer come in there, and it's just like
They
they're
like
feeding
eating the
on
leaves.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's pretty neat to sit back and watch. I never had any big ones come in to do it, but
Right.
the does and fawns, they come in and it's move those leaves down low, and they tear them up. So
Well, have you got a question for him?
Nope.
You can also, when you're trimming, you can also do the kind of artificially make the deer go where you want them to.
yeah,
Which, I mean, if you're going to do it, you're going to take time cutting them down. You might as well get the deer going where you want them.
We cut a
Yep.
huge tree down the week before. We went back the next week, and there's a big deer trail going around that tree. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, you can direct them
Yeah.
yeah,
with
Toss
a
the
lot of
brush.
that.
yeah. I mean, people say a lot of times if you cut a whole bunch of stuff, you scare the deer out, but I don't know. It didn't scare them out cutting a huge tree down, and my brother and my brother-in-law and my nephew all cut wood up there and burn wood, and so they're up there cutting wood all the time, so I don't know. What was you want to talk about tree stand placement?
Yeah, I just, like I said, this hedge tree's on kind of about a quarter of the way down the slope of the hill, It's kind of, and I didn't place it. I mean, God placed it several years ago, but when Arkansas and I was going to film there a few years ago, I went 45 yards up on top of the hill, right on top, and so we could see farther and shoot 2 lanes farther and everything else. And I put a ladder stand up, and then I put a hang on above that. And I would say that I've been busted out of that stand, even the one the hang on up above. If I hunt it by myself now, I'm pretty much up there, and I'm guessing that's probably 16, 17 feet in the air. And the hedge tree, I can go down there and set and not get busted.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know. I think there's a couple things. I think the silhouette, because I'm up on top of the hill over the ridge, and the silhouette, but the scent just, it doesn't get away up there like it does. And it's, like I said, it's 45 yards away.
Do you think they noticed the ladder?
Yeah, some. I know I shot a doe once early. I never try to shoot anything early because I like to let my deer hang. But this doe come in with twins, and the twins were over there eating around on acorns and stuff, and she come in and looked right at the ladder. This was when I had never hunted it.
Yeah.
Just put it up, and she started making this circle around, stomping and looking and stomping and looking.
You need to take her out of the gene pool.
She was gone.
Was she?
She circled one too many times, got too close. I shot her. So
Yeah,
but,
I'll give him that first snort.
yeah.
Yeah, we've done that a few times. Got some old ladder stands, and you put them somewhere, and you watch the deer come out. You can be 100 yards away and still see that stand, and watch a deer in binoculars. When you first see them, they'll be peeking at that thing the whole time they're walking.
But
so
then,
when they do that, you go put a hang on about 20 yards away from it.
But then I've had spikes come up, and a couple different spikes come up and rub their, I guess their ice. They were using it like a lick branch, or whatever. They was rubbing their eye on the ladder. I mean, here I am up on this, and he's clanging this ladder stand up and down, rubbing his head on it and stuff. And so I took something, I can't remember whether it was an apple or something out of my pack. I just dropped it on him, hit him. He runs out there a little ways, and just get him out of there. But,
Right.
And,
the ladder stands can be real handy.
Yeah.
If you put them in the right place. And I think, personally, I like to brush them in a little bit, tuck them in, and kind of like you do a ground blind. Mm-hmm. That's one of the mistakes a lot of people make is they'll go out there and they'll find the real skinny, straight tree and something that's easy to hang it on, and there they are just hung out to dry. Mm-hmm. You can sit there all you want, but, as soon as you either stand up or go to grab your bow, I mean, they're going to pick you off. So at least that's been my experience.
And if you're like, I've got it's the one I killed my deer out of last year, my daughter-in-law's stand. We tucked it around the backside, and then we've got the open field, and the old field road comes down. And we just slid it around the backside of the tree, so the ladder is actually behind the tree, So that kind of helped you, I've had guys, I've got them on my camera, people that have been walking through picking daisies or something, and I've got pictures of them, and
they never
even knew the stand was there or anything. Walked right on by. So, stand placement as far as like you said, sometimes you got to brush them in. I have a tough time with ground blinds, and
I have a hard time sitting in a ground blind for deer hunting. I've only killed one deer out of ground blind.
I've only killed one.
That's something you got to put out ahead of time, and you got to really brush it in because it takes them a while.
That off.
It takes them a while to.
Now, what I'd like to have is one of those hay bale blinds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they look pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you can fool them pretty well with those.
But when I was over at Brunswick there, we had had a food plot out in the middle of this 90-acre timber back in across the tracks, and I'd take a ground blind, and I'd set it. I had it right at that one year, the year I killed that one deer, I had it right out in the middle of that thing. Just set it out there and left it. I put it up like the end of August, and
they get used to it.
Yeah, they got used to it and walked right out in there. The buck I shot, he was eating on the beans I had out there, and he was about 16, 17 yards, and he was just feeding. They didn't pay no attention.
Yeah.
It's funny you put up a ground blind and the turkey will walk by it and brush it with its feathers, but you put one out and a deer can walk out in the field 200 yards down and it's going to stop there and it's going to stare right away.
Yep. Yeah, I had the one really nice buck that I had back there one year that I skinned the hair off his back. He walked out there and it's like he hadn't been through there before, and he was staring at that blind the whole time.
Yep.
And,
so what do you guys think is a good height? Is what's too low? Or does it just depend on the circumstance?
It depends on the circumstance.
Yeah, I would agree.
Agree. The ladder stand that I told you about a while ago, that guy had over there, it was like a 16-foot ladder stand, but he only used one section, so it was only like 8 feet up.
Yeah.
So, and it was one of those that it didn't really have a foot platform, so I know he was standing in it because of the way he had the brush around him in that tree. So, 8 foot off the ground, all brushed in. What he was doing was waiting for him to hop the fence and hook around in front of him to go out the other direction, and he wanted enough cover behind him that he could get away with some movement as they come around him.
Yeah. So if he brushed it all in, it's kind of like hunting out of an elevated ground blind.
Yeah, it really was. And there were spots over there, like there's railroad easement that runs back through here. You know how they'll be probably in some places 20 to 30 yards from the easement fence up to the railroad, and that's usually just as thick can be. Mm-hmm. And there were places where I found over there years later where he had just hopped that barbed wire fence, cut him out a little spot, and brushed it in, and was just sitting there, looking through a little. He had woven sticks through the barbed wire and the whole 9 yards. He was pretty, and he, when I met him, he was one of those guys. First time I ever saw
a stick bow guy.
No, but it's the first time I'd ever seen a guy that was wearing one of those leafy suits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him, and so I just kind of watched him. I hunted the other end of it, but I would pay attention to what he was doing over there, and then he quit hunting that side of the railroad track, so I took it over. Found me an old locust tree down in there.
Well, there's back on the west side of the farm over there, pretty thick, and there's an old field road went up through there, and of course the creek had washed out, and nobody's taken any type of farm machinery or pickup or anything back in there for 15 years probably. And I knew there was a lot of deer using that as their scrape line.
Freeway, yeah.
Yeah, up and down through there. And my son always hunted on the south end of it and stuff, but he got to investigating too much and got back in there, and he said, Dad, you wouldn't believe how many scrapes and stuff's back in there. And of course, I turkey hunt it, and you can always tell.
Right.
See if you pay attention to what you're doing when you're, you can see the lick branches and stuff that are broke different places, even if there's leaves over the scrape. Oh, he moved a stand back in there, and he put it up in a cedar tree, a fairly good sized cedar tree, but I think he's only about 8 foot in the air, and it's right on where the ridge falls off down into the creek and stuff, so he can see the creek, and it falls off and then has a little ridge and then falls off into the creek, and but he also can watch that road going off to the west through there, and usually during gun season the wind's kind of out of the northwest and stuff, so he's set it up pretty good. I was kind of proud of him.
I've got an evergreen back here that I don't even have any tree steps in it.
Really?
You just go up kind of cut your little path up through the side of it and get up there and cut some branches out, set my stand in, and you're just tucked back in that thing, and
That's
you don't even
completely
need
unsafe.
steps or, huh?
That's completely unsafe.
Oh, is it?
Sounded good.
I know.
I've done that turkey hunting
People
before.
have been climbing trees for years, but
When I first started bow hunting, I didn't even know what a tree stand was.
I know.
I was doing it from the ground, and then there was a good old 2x4 nailed across a fork.
2 before.
You know,
2x4 steps.
2
Those
before
are even
step,
better.
yeah.
before I started buying tree stands, I would get 2x2s and make a frame, put a piece of plywood across it, and then get an old car seat belt and lag bolt it to that and put it up in a tree. I mean, that's completely safe right there.
Right.
I mean, it's almost impossible to hit that button on a tree on a car seat and open it up. But yeah, those were my tree stands. I can't believe I didn't die out of some of those. I didn't go nearly as high as I do now with them, but
One year I thought I was going to be all fancy for rifle season, and I went and got some 1-inch square tubing and welded me together a ladder, and then got me some angle and made me like a 4x4 frame and put some of that expanded metal on it, and
Damn thing was heavy, wasn't
went and got me a bass boat, a boat seat that swiveled and the whole 9 yards, And
how'd you get in a tree?
it took 3 men and a dog.
it? Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now where that stand is. It's in that same tree,
Really?
and it's grown into the tree.
Yeah, you still hunt it?
I think I spent
Oh,
I bet I spent $100 on that thing.
That's the way
doing it. But
I did one, made it basically for my daughter-in-law because she didn't like heights, and it might be 8 feet in the air, and had it in a cedar. But this new stand that is around, it's right there that stands in a cedar right there by the salt block. She killed several deer with a gun setting in it, but we got this other one put around there, and when you get up in it, you're pretty well. It's kind of a one that half moons around, and it's got a bar across it, so she feels pretty safe in that. And
yeah,
that one's still in that cedar tree. I haven't moved it or anything because it's too damn heavy.
Oh man, I had to back the pickup down to it to get this thing in it. And then you put it together at the bottom, you don't realize how heavy that top of that thing is.
Yeah,
trying to get it up that tree.
So what about you got a good stand and it's like the prime time when they're starting to rut and stuff? Do you hunt that stand every day? If let's say you have a week's vacation.
I do.
I do too.
I do too.
Yeah. They say not to overhunt a stand, but
I think if you spray down good and try to at least control your scent a little bit, I don't think you even have to completely cover it up.
And you got to be careful going in and out too.
yeah.
Don't get busted going in and out.
Well, that's a lot of time. I used to get up and pitch dark, but half the time I'd sound like 5 elephants going back in there crashing through the brush and everything else. So anymore, I get there and it'll be light enough to where I can see the ground. I hate using flashlights, but it'll be just light enough to see the ground and see the limbs and spider webs, but I'll go back in there. I try to slip in as quiet as I can, and because the bedding areas are usually on both sides of me, there'll be some deer bed down sometimes on that ridge, but most of the time they're off on both sides, so I can slip in on that ridge, get up in my stand, and not make a bunch of noise and stuff. Now getting down sometimes because is a little bit different because they'll be in there. They may be feeding on those leaves, or late winter they'll be in there. There's a lot of locust trees, and they like those locust pods.
Yes, they
in
do.
the wintertime, they'll eat them up like candy.
Yep.
And sometimes you gotta find different ways of spooking the deer without them knowing you're there.
Right.
But
Still swatting gnats over here. Well, what do you guys think about this time of year? It's early season, still September here. What do you guys think about hunting mornings versus afternoons? I can tell you the most pictures that I'm getting right now on my game cameras are 5, 6 o'clock at night in the afternoon.
I'd trust your cameras.
Yeah.
I
know. I heard Bill Winke on a podcast one time with Midwest Whitetails, and he said that he doesn't hunt mornings until the rut.
Yep.
So,
That makes perfect
I
sense
don't
to
know.
me. But
Most of the time, when I have a chance to go hunting,
You're going to go hunting.
I go hunting.
Yep.
And I get up there, at the break of day, and I get down in the dark.
Yeah.
So,
But I've thought about what you were talking about earlier, because there's a lot of times that you want to get in there and be in there a half an hour or an hour before daybreak and all that, which is great. But, I mean, how many animals are you spooking walking in there in the dark, which is one of the times when they're out running around a lot?
if I'm coming through the timber, I don't care how much noise I'm making.
a lot of times
I'll just tromp on through, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to make much difference where I hunt. I mean, a prime example is one Thanksgiving. I was late getting to a stand. It wasn't light yet, but this stand was in a pin oak, and I just boogied down over the hill, right through the timber, and I went up the tree and made a bunch of noise getting up in the tree, rustling leaves, and I'm sitting in it trying to catch my breath, and man, I looked down and there he is right there. I mean, I think he thought somebody's coming in here. I got to go see who this is.
Yeah.
He's making too much noise.
I had a friend of mine. We're moving tree stands during the season one time, and he was up in the tree stand. And I had my bow laying on the ground, and I hooked the stand to a rope for him to pull up to set the stand. And it got about 3/4 of the way up, and it dropped and went clanging down through the tree, making all kinds of noise. And a little buck came running in because I guess
they want to know what it was.
I think he thought it was a couple of bucks fighting. That's what I thought. But I don't know. But I mean, if you get there like an hour before daylight, and you're there, and you're having to be up in your tree stand, and in order to set everything up, you got a light on your head or whatever, and you're shining that light everywhere. And
Yeah. I don't ever use one.
don't ever use a light.
Nope.
How do you see in the dark?
You see those eyes?
Or do you not? Or do you just not? You
Here's
just
another
go
thing.
in when it's starting to lighten
I
up?
go in when I can see the ground, and then
Yeah, that's
take-
what I mean. That's what I was meaning by it.
yeah. But I coming out, I just don't use a light.
Sometimes if you go in too early, it's too quiet out there. So, have you ever gotten a tree and you're the only thing out there making noise, and then you have to sit down for an hour and listen to every little noise you make? 'Cause you're not hearing anything going on out in the field or.
And how come
any
when
of
you
that.
sit there for an hour, you'd think it would be warmer when the sun comes up, but as soon
No,
as
it
the sun
always gets
starts coming
colder.
up, it gets colder.
Yep.
Right
You're
at
right.
daybreak.
And how many times have you sat in that tree and looked out there and turned a bush into a booner?
Yeah,
But that's
or a
perfect.
Sasquatch.
There's nothing better. Yeah, there's nothing better though than when right as the sun's starting to come up and you get that extra little chill, and there's the frost starts hitting the ground. There wasn't any frost when you walked in there.
Right.
But right about then that's
And then you look.
that's
Doggone
it.
cold.
Then you look
that's
out there
perfect.
and you can see steam coming out the nostrils or something. Yeah, that gets your blood pumping.
Or you're hoping
I'm
you
ready
get a
for
text
that.
that said
It's
biscuits
still-
and gravy are ready.
It's still 80, 90 degrees here in the Midwest, and
We're just dreaming.
80% humidity, and it's like sucks. Next week's supposed to be high in the 70s, I think, though.
Low 70s at that.
Yeah,
Lows in the upper 40s,
and
low 50s.
you're off for the whole week.
Yes, I am.
So
But just down from this little V-like draw right down below me, I've seen deer get spooked off the neighbors, and they'll come running through and they'll get down and hit that down in that little draw, and they'll stop. It's like a little comfort zone for them.
yeah,
So one time I thought, that's the ticket. That's where I need to be, is down in there. I took a ladder stand, got down in there, and hung another stand up above it, and so make it easy to get in. I got down there. They'd come down in there, and they get there, and they'd bust me every time.
Really?
Yeah,
It's just like, and I
too
guess
much
that's
on top of them.
my scent, I think, stayed right in that little
Yep.
V down in that bottom. And I even went over, there's a great big oak tree over there, and I got over and got up in it, and I actually put that ladder stand up in there and got up to where I could get on a limb and then climbed on up. I was high then, but I was even with the ridge on each side of me, and I thought that'll get me up high enough. No, just seemed like it just would draw my.
There's
scent
nothing
right down
worse
in.
than
needed a hex suit.
getting to your stand in the morning, and you get in and you get sat down, and all you hear is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can't see them, but
Right.
you know they know you're there.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
And it's a squirrel.
So I went back out and started hunting up there, and I figured, hey, if the deer's down in there, if they want to bed down there where I can see them or get calm down in there, that's fine. Let them calm down, and then
yep.
they're either going to walk out where I can shoot them or walk out the other way and where I can't. So
Right.
Well, I just want to be close enough. If I can see him come in or one that I'm hunting, I want to be able to talk to him, and I want to see him before he sees me or knows I'm there. Because if you can do that, a lot of times you can call him right to your tree.
okay,
This
talking
time
to
of
him.
year, or this time of year, you mean during like when they're out chasing or pre-rut and all that?
Man, I've done it mid-October.
Really?
Late October. Yeah, mid to late October is when I really start doing it.
Do you guys believe in the October lull?
Some
Didn't
years
matter-
I've
didn't
some
matter
years
for
I've
us, did it?
some years I've seen it. Some years it ain't mattered.
Yeah.
When you said talk to him, are you saying rattling or grunting or snort, wheeze?
All
or,
depends on him.
Yeah.
You know, first thing I'll do is grunt at him, and that's when you read him, when you grunt. And it may just be an ear turn, or he may swing around and look right at your direction, or what have you. And then a lot of times he'll look and look and look. If he don't see what he wants, or he's not, responding, as soon as he turns to go the other way or whatever, grunt him again. Like, reassure him, hey, yeah, I am here. And if that don't do it, I'll try doe bleed or the little can call. Yeah. And sometimes towards especially towards Halloween, I'll start clicking at them, and
well, I can honestly say all the years hunting up there, and I've used a rattle bag, and I guess I need to throw the damn thing away and get me a good set of horns.
You do.
Mm-hmm. And because like Joe Pittman go over east, north of Carrollton up in there, he rattles deer in all the time, but he uses a fairly large set of horns.
Yep.
Rattles them in all the time. I think I've only rattled in one deer, but I've grunted in a bunch of them. And
I've grunted in a bunch. I snort wheeze.
Snort wheeze seems like it works really well.
It's the right time of year, because it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to bring him into fight, or it's going to scare him off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if it scares him off,
there's a bigger one.
There's a bigger one in there, and you know it.
Yeah.
Or he may not be bigger; he might just be badder.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen them. I've seen some pretty decent deer come through, and I get my grunt call out and grunt. And it's like I always call it the scared chicken neck look. It seems like their neck gets skinny. Their tail tucks right into their hind end.
Yeah.
And they're making
they're headed
exit
out.
stage left. Yeah. He's getting the hell out of Dodge.
But then you run across the little cocky 6-pointer that thinks he's all that. He's ready to fight anything that's out there. He ain't scared of nothing.
Yep.
About just he's inside of his ears, maybe 12 inches tall, and
and it's always a good sign if you grunt at them and then all of a sudden they turn and they just start tearing the hell out of a tree or something.
Yep.
Because then he's gonna keep coming in because he thinks he's bad. I was slipping up as gun season, and I was actually going to try to push a deer to my youngest son because it was sprinkling rain, and I should have known that he wasn't in the stand because it was sprinkling rain. And I go around, get north of him, and come up through there, and I'm slipping along the creek and pretty thick stuff. And I look up there, and there's this tree. You can see it wiggling, and stuff. And
right.
so I grab my grunt call. I grunt, and this buck, he just immediately turns, and I see his back. He's got his head down low to the ground, and the buck brushes, covering up. So he comes up there, and he gets about maybe 8 yards from me, raises his head up, and like I said, it's a little bitty old basket rack 8-point. And I got my gun up just in case, and he looks at me. Of course, I'm standing there just kind of leaned up against a tree, and he stands there and he looking for that buck, and he's all bristled up. I look at him, I just said, "Bang, you're dead." And he turns, he runs out there in the field, and then turns and stops and looks back at me. And I just take my hat off and wave it at him. He runs right up on top of the ridge and right over, right on the path, right past where my son. I kept waiting. And I said, two things: he's either asleep or he's back at the truck.
Yeah,
he was at the truck.
I was right on both of them.
he's at the truck asleep.
He was back at the truck asleep. So yeah,
You know,
It was that hard sprinkle.
most of the good deer I've killed, I've called them in.
really.
Yeah.
What about how many stands do you guys have?
As many as you can get.
At one time, there were 22 stands hung right around here.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
I can honestly
Now I'm
not
down
tell
to-
you how many we have at the
I'm
farm.
down to 1, 2, 6 now.
I put up a ladder stand last year basically to put one of my grandsons, because it's right at the edge of the cemetery, overlooking, kind of looking to the north and
Vinny stand.
west.
Because all kids
No,
like to be in the cemetery in the dark.
But got that one up, and including that one, I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 5 stands, and last year I hunted one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We got 2 ladder stands and then 3 double sets. And then if we go over to that other section of the property we were talking about, we'll have 4 double sets. So
I've got
more ladder
one.
stands
What,
than that if we need.
what kills
There's more
me
ladder
is,
stands than that.
there's just 2.
what kills me
2
is,
double stands for hunting with kids.
Oh, yeah, but I wouldn't count that.
well, yeah, but you got to have double stand for kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have 8 or 10 separate sets if they weren't all doubles.
Yeah.
So, but
And we've got enough. We could put up 2 more sets, right?
yeah, so we'd have 4 sets, 4 double sets.
There's a few hanging over there.
Yeah, we got plenty then.
Yeah.
He works during the day, and you're off on Friday. We got about 10 sets, it looks
Yeah.
like.
Man, at one time I had tree stands. This garage was half full of tree stands.
Yeah.
I've got a ladder stand, a double ladder stand that's in the garage. I bought last year and just never put it up. Just, I don't know. I buy them and put them, set them out. Actually, then Aaron's got 2. My son's got 2 out
Yeah.
back that he told me I could take up there and put up. They're just on the.
I got tree stands all over the state. Places
You
I
can't
can't
eat
hunt
peanut-
anymore, but
Yeah,
You can't eat peanuts during the
the
pie.
stands here.
Yeah.
Watch me.
but
That's going to sound good.
yeah, I set one. I put one stand up right on a food plot there about 6 years ago, and I've never hunted it. And it's down in the point where my grandson's box blind's facing it.
Yeah.
Set it up. Never have hunted. I'm scared
Right.
to get in it now.
Yeah.
But another thing on these hang-on stands that people need to look at. And I've got a couple of them. I need to look at them. Is some of these stands will have the cable coming down on each side with the plastic around it. Everybody needs to check those things out really, really good, because
Yeah.
moisture will get in there and rust that cable. and
Big dummy.
it'll throw you on the ground.
Wow.
'Cause,
I didn't think about that.
one
Why do
of
you
my
think I always pull on them? Break it up there.
one of my son's good friends that he worked with down at New Franklin,
Video, Jack.
he had one.
That's what he's talking about right in here.
Yeah.
See, that one's covered pretty good, but some of them aren't. Some of them
Some of
the
the
plastic
He's
cable.
talking about the cable coming down from the
From the main
about where
backbone of the tree
yeah,
stand.
the
Yeah.
seat down to the stand. Yep.
But some of them the plastic cable isn't shrink wrapped on there. It's just like
Right.
pulled over it.
Yep.
So there's a gap in it, and then it's not plumb up underneath where it's clamped together, and that moisture will get in there and run down that cable and get trapped in there and rust that cable out. And like I said, my son's
Wow.
friend, it threw him on the ground, and he's a big boy,
Yeah.
and he didn't break anything. but-
Wasn't wearing a safety harness.
no, he just climbed in the stand. Just climbed in the stand. He wasn't tied off yet. And,
That's why we use the lifelines.
yeah.
Yep. Huh.
But
I know a lot of people think it's a hassle to use those, but man, they
I like
Y'all
them
got me
more.
thinking about getting some.
I like
It
them.
just makes sense.
And what's
Yeah.
crazy
that
is
first step, you're attached to the tree, and you're
Right.
attached to the tree until you get down.
And most of tree stand accidents are people getting in and out of their tree stands.
yeah.
The tree stands
You know?
usually don't break.
You know,
I mean,
when
like
I was in
you're
my
saying, but
early 20s, I did siding and windows for a living. I'd be 30 feet, 40 feet in the air on a 12-inch wide walkboard between
Yep.
2 ladders.
and OSHA didn't care back then.
No, work all day long, no harness, no nothing. And come hunting season, I'd go up a tree like it wasn't nothing with no belt or no harness, and sometimes at most a belt that you wrapped around the tree and one around you. And I'd get out on the edge of the stand and hook my heels in the edge and lean out and shoot, and like it wasn't nothing. And I wouldn't have more do that nowadays than anything.
Well, none of us in here are spring chickens anymore.
No.
And a fall would suck when you're young, but we wouldn't. It would put
when
us
you got,
out of commission.
when you got a family to take care of and kids
Yeah.
to think about, and
Well, I'll hunt out of a ladder stand without.
we fall the
without a
same as
strap
we
on,
did. We fall the same as we did when we were kids. We just don't land the same.
we don't
No, that-
and we don't heal the same.
That ground comes up a lot quicker
Yep.
now, and
but
that's
bounce
just
back's a lot longer too.
Yep.
that's just
Yep.
tripping on a step on the back porch. You know.
The ground get there a lot faster.
But yeah, when I was younger, I'd find a grapevine, climb that grapevine up into that tree, and
Yep.
set on a limb, and I was hunting.
I got a really nice set of tree gaffs behind
Yeah,
you
I saw
there,
that.
Gary. That I used to use them all the time.
Yeah.
Just go like crazy. And
That's just
I don't use them
not
anymore.
me.
It's too hard to
Yeah.
use nowadays.
All right.
So
I hate placing stands. I mean, I hate setting them up. Usually, I'm setting them by myself, and that's why a lot of times I kind of like to drag a ladder stand out there and throw a ladder stand up, and then stand on it, and then put me a lock on above it.
Yeah.
And
See, to me, they're not that bad anymore. Because with these safety harnesses now, and they have the two linemen's deal for a lineman's
You
belt
just
on
wrap
each side
your
of
rope
it.
around and
Wrap
lean
your
back
rope,
and-
your hands free, putting
well,
your tree stands up.
the whole time
Yep.
you're doing that, you're going up. You're putting your ladder up, or your steps, whatever you're using, and you've got the lineman's belt on. You're going up. Well, the whole time you're going up, around the bottom of the tree, you've already tied off your lifeline.
right,
So when you get to the top, or where you're going to hang the stand,
tie it
get to
off.
the top, you tie up your lifeline. You can hook onto that.
Yeah.
So
you got to
you're
go
hooked
up.
up top.
You got to go up initially the first
You know,
time.
one of the
Yeah.
things
You know, but
I've gotten to where I like them a lot is does cheapo set of $35 steel climbing sticks that you can go up to Rogers and buy that get you up there about 18, 20
Yeah.
feet. They're easy they go up fast. They're easy, and then
Yep.
they're quiet getting in and out of.
I haven't used screw and steps in years.
Well, that used to be the only way to
It's the
fly.
only way you could do it.
Yeah.
But it's too much
Well,
of a hassle.
Those sticks
Yep.
you're talking about, sometimes you got to have a step of 48 inches high to go from one step to the next.
No,
If you
these are ones that you click all together and like one
Yeah.
pole.
Right.
yeah, that's what I'm talking
Uh,
about.
Yeah.
And you can get a little higher if you put the first step higher up.
You know what's funny is when you're putting tree stands and stuff up, it says on the box and everything, say leave yourself about 3 feet so you can go up the ladder and step off into your tree stand.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother, he thinks that top step where it's flat on both sides. No, you're supposed to stand on that, then scale into your tree stand.
Oh, yeah.
He's
I got
as
one
bad,
like
he's
that
as
over
bad
here.
as Jack.
I got one like that.
That
over
one that we hunted out of the other day is kind of. We need another section of steps right there on that.
No,
on
we
that
need to take that crotch hook off of there. That thing's going to
Yeah,
kill
that's true.
somebody.
one. Yeah.
I got some steps from someplace. They've got, like your little ladder deals. That's 4 foot or whatever, 3 foot. That the strap comes around and slides in there, and then you pull it up, cinch it up tight.
Yep.
I've got some steps that have that with that strap around
Yeah.
that comes in. I use those when I get to the top of my ladder,
Right.
and I'll use those to step on to get around to
Right.
go on, get on my stand. So,
Yep.
But yeah, sometimes you got to watch out. They stick out there in the dark a little too far.
Well, I used to hunt with my buddy Robert all the time, and that dude, he's a knuckle dragger. He's 5'8", had 31-inch draw length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had those gorilla arms. So all his steps were like 4 feet apart on the tree. I'd have to grab a step and hop to the next one. We took Michael over there, that one he put up, and we got in at one time. Michael made me go get more steps put in it. So,
well, I really worry about my son a lot of times, because he's 290 pounds, in boxer shorts. So, you throw all of his hunting gear on him and everything else. He's over that 300-pound limit on a lot of those stands. And I've told him several times. Now I did buy him a harness several years ago and told him to use it.
But you won't use one.
I got one.
I know it's in the truck.
It's
right?
in the truck.
I got a good lineman's belt over here right now if you want it.
But I got me I think it's a Muddy. I think it's what the brand name is, and
okay, here's a question.
I'll use it one of these days.
What do you think about straps and tree stands? I know you got to have them obviously to hold the tree up, but if say yours get older, do you have to call the manufacturer and use their exact ones, or can you just buy a set that's rated?
Yes, you do have to call the manufacturer and use their last ones, Gary.
Okay. Thanks for answering my question.
Okay.
Now let's get some real opinions.
Now, do we do that? No. But for the audience, yes, you have to call.
should. I mean, it's a discussion.
We're not
Jack.
I know.
We already had that discussion. I'm supposed to get some straps for steps over here.
No, we decided we're just going to make yours work. So
okay.
We're taking them with us anyway.
If you do go,
You don't need them.
If you do go buy, some say at Walmart or whatever,
I bet I got enough to get you up 10 trees.
get the good thicker ones.
Mm-hmm.
I try to put new ones on it. I don't even take my old ones off because half the time they're rusted up. I just leave them on there, and then I'll slide the new one on there and cinch it down about every 2 years because I don't take them off. But
problem with it is these new the used to be able to get a 1-inch ratchet strap that was pretty beefy, like a motorcycle tie down.
Yeah,
nowadays they're making them so thin, and the metal on the ratchet itself is so thin.
But they're stronger.
If you ratchet too tight, it breaks it.
I know, and I want that thing ratcheted on there. It's tight where it doesn't creak or anything.
But it made me wonder. This year I put my side-by-side on my trailer, which with my four-wheeler it had the winch on the front. So I just hooked that winch to a chain that I had around there and cinch her down. Well, this time, since I didn't have that,
You're going to wear yourself out by the time we're done.
Jack over shadow boxing the gnats again. But I got one of these ratchet straps that I'd taken up and I thought were good, and taken up and put on my stand several times. And I put this on my ratcheted down the front end of that Polaris. Got to Carrollton, which is a full 10 miles away, and pulled in there. And somebody said, "Man, you dragging your strap?" And looked over there, and I thought, "Well, that thing come undone." No, it busted.
Really?
Yep.
The strap busted.
Huh.
Yep.
So guess what? I'm not going to use those damn things on my stands anymore. I mean, there's a big difference, but still, it should be stronger than that.
Strap, you get.
You're
what
not
you
going to
pay
use
for
the
with
ratchet strap or that ratchet strap. What do you mean?
I bought them in a package. There was like 6 in a package.
Right, but they were real thin, real skinny ones.
They were pretty skinny.
Yeah. Okay.
And but I mean,
It's that little stamp
I
metal
thought
that they use for the ratchet sucks too.
Yeah.
But you get ready to get it, put that last little bit of stank on it, and then it goes, and it ain't worth it.
You know, the problem is you can almost buy a new tree stand for what the straps cost if you order the manufacturer.
We bought a bunch of Gorilla stands when Vic's was still open, and she was getting ready to go out of business, and so she had a whole bunch of Gorilla stands up there, and so we got 4 of them, and had them in a tree. Well, those have that stupid.
That's why they don't make stands anymore, too.
Right. They have that stupid strap that it's got the little bar that slides over, and that when you tighten it up, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like a cam lock thing, and then you stick the rod through it.
Yeah, I guess. Well, once you get those tied in there and they grow for a year, you can't get them out. You got to cut the strap to get them out.
Right.
You can't get that thing open.
Those are the ones I've got. Some of those. Those are the ones with the plastic that I think threw this boy on the ground.
Right.
Too.
Well, maybe I shouldn't use them. But anyway, so I had to cut the straps on them. Then I called Gorilla. Well, Gorilla's out of business. So you can't get straps for them. You know, so you
But
got to use
yeah.
a ratchet strap.
Well, see, you could hook those if you cross them over instead of hooking them where you're pulling the stand apart. If
Yeah.
you cross them over to where you're pulling it and actually going to
against
the middle,
against itself.
yeah, I think you can get away with it, but
Yeah.
you still need to be careful. And I always buy the 12 or 14 foot, the longer ones if I can, and then wrap it once or twice around there and tie it up real
Yeah.
good. So if you do have a failure, you're still held up in the tree.
Yeah, and I want 2 straps.
Yeah, always.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Especially if it's not the
Certified.
manufacturer stand. Yeah,
If it's
Yeah.
a double for the kids,
Strap.
I'm putting 3 on it. If I can get 3 straps on it, one top,
Yeah.
one bottom, and if there's a back rail on it, it's getting a strap too.
and I always put a strap on the bottom of my tree stand to
Yep.
keep it from.
I
moving
think
around.
before that company went out of business, I think because our safety manager had those stands and he checked into it, and I think they had a recall on some of those
Really,
cables, and
it was
we're
Gorilla?
sending out. I think it was.
Wow.
Pretty sure it was.
better check them out pretty close then.
Yeah, but
Huh. I
yeah.
may not have as many stands as I thought I did.
I'll let you get on first. Let's try them on the ground, though. I don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Yeah.
I'd hate to have to hunt by myself.
It's too much work. I'll put them up in the tree.
Put Josiah up there. He's light. Still young. He'll bounce.
So
Did you get him?
Nope. I've got about 3 of them so far, though. All right. Well, what do you guys think? Got anything else you want to talk about? What do we decide? Sum it up, Bob.
on tree stand height, it depends on your set. I think what we all
No,
decided.
we want a height.
The
You
situation.
want a height?
Give us a height.
Nope.
17.5 feet.
No, 14 and a half.
Oh, it's way too low. Way too low.
Look at Bob
No.
coming in there like me.
No.
The lower the better.
You can't kill anything out of a 14-foot tree stand.
Okay.
It's never been done. So, all right. It's time for
Wait. What about placement, Bob?
what about placement?
Try to hide it as good as possible.
Yep.
Have some breakup behind you. You know, on both sides, mainly whichever side the deer path is. It depends on if you're going to hunt it in what wind and where you're putting it, and
Yep.
I don't worry about the wind anymore. I just go hunt. So
Now, if your neighbor's out of town and he's got really good spots and you know he's not going to be back, do you hunt that too?
no,
Okay.
I hunt this one, but easy in and easy out. That's another thing, you know, that's really good about the hedge tree that I hunt. I mean, I walk through the old cemetery, which is about 80 yards.
Is that
And then-
freaky?
No,
That's spooky.
it was the very first time I walked through it.
Yeah.
Covey quail. Yeah.
Had to go back and change your britches, didn't you?
I just pulled the stone over me and laid there for a while. So,
Bob's been through there so many times now. He just walks by and says, "Morning,
yeah,
morning, morning."
exactly.
Morning.
Some of these
Doesn't even bother him. He only hears, "Hi, Bob."
this
morning.
this old cemetery. Some of those guys have been dead for 100 years.
Yeah.
So, but it's pretty cool. Then some kids come back in there one time and pushed almost all of them over.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
And
catch some.
Bastards.
So this, you know, I went around, so I started trying to put some of them up. Those damn things are heavy
Yeah.
when they're not
I bet.
very big. So,
Yeah.
and most of the time they broke. There's a metal rod coming up through them, and they broke that off. So
Jeez.
just kind of rolled it back over by them. And but you know, it's a pretty cool spot. But get back in there. I mean, I take the same path in and back out, and you know, don't hardly just try to disturb anything. And now on the backside of the farm, sometimes I know we bust a lot of deer. Of course, there's a lot of times when I'm already in my stand, and
Somebody else will bust
and
it
the
out of there.
boy and Aaron and Sabrina and the grandsons are walking back to their stands on the backside, and
That's the
here come the deer.
conversation over coffee in the morning. Where are you all going to hunt today? Well, if I was you, I'd hunt down over here. But I'm going to be leaving about 20 minutes before you all. So
Yeah. my best bow kill, I know my son and daughter-in-law, you know, I know he saw them and came up. It was, well, they weren't going to leave till about 11:30, and I told them I was hunting all day. And about 10 o'clock, here come this buck by, and he walked through there and come from the direction they were. I mean, he wasn't running or anything. He was just walking. And I shot him, and he ran back in there. And then after I shot him, I knew I hit him pretty good, and I hear a pickup start up. Oh, shit, they're leaving me, you know. I'm going to have to drag this deer by myself, you know. And this was, it's been a few years ago, several years ago. So I jumped down out of my stand, run out to the pickup, left all my stuff there, and run out to the pickup, started up, and they're in the field road driving along, and I'm in the gravel road riding right alongside of them, you know. And you can see Aaron, he's looking out through the CRP ground and stuff, trying to. Then he turned back around, kind of jumped. I mean, I was driving right alongside of him and pulled him over to the side, and I said, "You're not going anywhere." He said, "Well, we haven't seen anything." I said, "Well, you're about to see one here in just a little bit." So,
It's even got a hole in it.
But yeah, I know what the path they walked up. They jumped him out of the edge of the cedar thicket there to the south of me and come right up by me. So
Good thing they didn't have their dog with them. You wouldn't be able to shoot it.
what dog?
Just in general. Remember
They
our
ain't got no
conversation
dog.
last week?
Yeah, they didn't have no dog. But now they could have had their cats with them. All
Then they wouldn't have no cats with
150 of the damn
What's
things.
the tip of the week, Pib?
Tip of the week: be safe, hunt hard.
That was
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
We waited
Pick a spot.
Shut up and shoot.
an hour and 26 minutes for that.
We didn't even get to the tech tip yet.
That's what I wanted. The tech tip.
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't say tech tip. You
Well,
said tip.
what-
of
You
the
said
week.
tip.
What's the tech tip?
Tiller tuner and the longbow, remember? You got to get out your thingamajig and measure the whatchamacallit. And if they're the same, shut up and shoot.
Practice, practice, and more practice. That's your tip of the week.
And that'll get you to just barely below
Just
average.
crappy practice or good practice?
Perfect practice. Don't just stand there and fling arrows. Do it with a purpose.
What's the
Work
purpose?
on something every time you shoot.
Like what?
Holy
Oh
crap.
gosh, there's a myriad of things you could shoot.
He
you could
almost
work
makes
on.
sense.
Give me an idea.
Give you an idea. Execution.
Like what? What's execution?
Execution is shooting a 40-yard shot with your eyes closed, becoming one with the arrow, Jack.
With Zen archery, baby.
There you go.
What is execution?
Execution is what I'm going to do to you. Get off my ass.
Don't stop shooting your bow just because hunting season's got here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is no off season.
You stole that. We're
yeah.
probably going to get sued.
There is an off
So-
season.
I got your back. Don't worry about it. I thought it was good.
Well-
Take us out, Pib. You didn't do
Yeah.
anything else worthwhile. Oh, that was too easy.
You still have time for a tech tip if you can think
Come
about
on.
it. real
I'm
quick.
out. I'm done.
Hey,
Nope.
the techie
Nope.
tip is how to
Nope.
find us. Come on, Pib.
Kiss a fat baby's ass.
Now take your hat off.
That wasn't right.
Okay. You can find us at bowdudes.com. You can, I heard that. You can email us at thebowdudespodcast.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go like all those. We need all the followers, likes, everything we can get. Just try everything at Bowdudes and OPC.
Okay.
Get down with OPC.
I found Pib's music.
Yeah, you know me. What is it? Let's hear it.
Jerk.
All right. Say bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you later.
See you in the funny papers.
Shut up and shoot.
See ya.
Anybody got to say bicycle?
You just did.
Really nice. Peanuts on a podcast. I don't know. We're out.
Peanuts on a popsicle.
When you eat what?